Hey, this is Eric from the band Aittala, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
This is 70,000 Tons of Metal, the original, the world's biggest heavy metal cruise. 60 bands, 4 days, one cruise ship, only 3,000 tickets. It's like having an all-access backstage pass. January 29th to February 2nd, 2026. From Miami, Florida to Nassau, the Bahamas, and back. Go to 70,000tons.com and book now.
Close. Technically, it's Aittala, or one or two syllables, but either one is good. But if you look at it, probably Aittala makes more sense.
Right.
But my dad says it's two syllables, but I don't know if he was really right. Because when I went to Europe, ironically, people in the States can't say it. But one time I was at an airport and I got an upgrade and they were like, Eric Aittala. And I'm like, wait a minute, is that really me? I was in Montreal. I was at the Montreal airport. And I'm like, hey, wait, they said my name correctly. And I went up there. I'm like, are you sure you want me? And they're like, no, yeah, you. I'm like, you said my name right.
That's funny. So let's talk about the band then. And for those, I guess, well, let's step back. One of the things I like doing the most about the show is finding bands I've never heard of and, getting to listen to them or whatever. So I was new to you guys. And for those not familiar, like I was, can you give us the 2-sentence elevator boardroom pitch?
Well, I would say Aittala it's a heavy metal band. Now, I call it heavy metal, but other people call it other things depending on the genre that they like. We've been called eclectic doom a few times, so I kind of go with that. So we're an eclectic doom band based out of the United States, originally formed in the Netherlands when I was stationed there with the Air Force back in the 90s.
And your record Machines came out, what, like April-ish?
Well, yeah, Machines came out in April, and that was kind of a throwback because that was all older music. So I don't know which one you're interviewing for or what we're talking about, because the latest one, Ill Gotten Gains, came out in November, and that was another 5-song EP, which was all new material.
So the other stuff, was that just left over from previous things?
Basically, so I've been writing songs for a long time, and so those were songs I had written and not released yet. And I thought they were still good, viable songs. And so I kind of reimagined them because most of them, well, I should say all of them, were originally demoed on a 4-track. So that's how old they were. So I took them and I created them the way that they sounded in my head 30 years ago because I had the technology.
Right. So they probably changed drastically then.
Well, the sound did. So they're 99% original to the demo. The arrangement is the same. The music is the same. Yeah, I did. I just recreated them as they originally were. I changed a few words here and there to make more sense as I was more mature. But they're not. If you listen to them side by side, you would say that's the same arrangement. And I did that purposefully because I still thought they were, pretty viable. It was just a fun thing to do.
Okay. So your sound has been called everything from like electric doom, powerhouse, or whatever. When you're writing, how do you consciously think about genre labels, and are you deliberately stitching, that thrash, doom, power metal thing together, or is that just the way it instinctively happens?
It's all organic, right? I just let it happen, and I think that's kind of an advantage because then the songs, I hope they don't sound forced. That with the way they come out, if I feel like I'm influenced by something more thrashy or influenced something more doomy, then that may came out and I interpret them. I kind of jokingly say I don't really write songs consciously. I let them write themselves, and I just keep working on them until they tell me that they're completed.
So is anything game, in the beginning? Are any ideas fair game? Or do you like specifically say, this has to be heavy or whatever?
It's whatever I write. It's whatever comes out and whatever develops into whatever it develops into. I don't play country, but if I wrote a country song, maybe a country song would be on the album. But country doesn't come out of me organically, so I could tell you I would never write a country song. or any other genre besides in the metal realm, because that's what I'm kind of predisposition to.
Your lyrics are very, I mean, I'm on the darker side of the human condition for sure. How do you strike that balance between lyrical heaviness and keeping the musical momentum going so the songs are cathartic as well as being, I don't know, bleak and desolate?
I don't have a good answer for that, other than the way that I write is I write music with no lyrics in mind. I just pop up with these riff ideas, and then kind of separately, I write in my kind of notebook or my my lyric book, and I'll jot down ideas that I see or hear, and I just jot them down. And then when I feel inclined, like I have to have the inspiration, I sit down and I just kind of go through it, and I like that riff. I want to write, I want that to be a song, or it's telling me it wants to be a song. And I just kind of like go through my pages and go like, what's a good, how do I start this off? And I marry the two together. And then I just kind of develop it from there. So again, it just kind of comes up organically. I don't try to force like, oh, this song has to be, it feels like it's about this subject, and I kind of make that happen. I just let it kind of flow.
You've gone from like you've gone from the early Dutch scene, like you said a little bit ago, with selling Heaven through to Ill-Gotten Gains in 25, but people have been noticing like a natural progression at the core of the band. When you listen back across the whole arc of your music, what do you think is the root of it all, the unshakable DNA of Aittala?
Probably my terrible voice.
Fair
That's
enough.
one of the
I
things,
don't think
right?
anybody likes their voice though, right? I mean, I listen back to mine and I hate it.
Well, I would say this. Look, I've gotten feedback that says either I suck as a singer or the band should get a new lead singer, to other people saying, look, I love the guy's voice. It's unique. And again, it's all subjective, right? I mean, you could say Geddy Lee can't sing worth of shit.
How much do you put into that though? How much headspace do you give any of those critics?
None. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to write what I write, right? I didn't originally, to be honest, I never wanted to be a lead vocalist or a singer. But when I started writing demos and I had my 4 track, and I was in the military, I had to put lyrics to it. It had to be a song that I could present. In the original incarnation of the band in the Netherlands, there was a lead singer, Tim Mannon. He was the original lead singer. He's an American guy. His wife was stationed at the base with me, and so we met. And he was the original singer. But then after I left Holland, I kept writing demos, and I kept singing. And then when I decided, hey, I'm just gonna work on my music and try it, stop being in other people's bands. I was just like, I'm just going to sing. I've been doing it long enough. It's passable, and it's so hard to find a really good lead singer anyway. They're either all taken and in good bands, or they're just douchebags that you don't want to work with because they know that they're good, right? There's a couple of guys in our scene that fit that bill specifically. So I try not to be that douchebag because I know I'm not that good of a singer, but I think I go well with the music that I write in some regard.
Okay. Is there something you want your fans to take away from after listening to an Itala record? A message?
Um, no message specifically. I just hope they enjoy it and identify with it, because I know some people. I've gotten feedback where people have really identified with songs and that really spoke to them. So I just really want them to get the experience that they get from it. Right? Nothing that I want to present to them other than let them interpret what they want to interpret and take away what they want to take away.
How interesting is that though? Because like you write it with a certain idea in mind or theme in mind or vibe in mind, and then you get a message from somebody across the world saying it means this to them, and it could be completely
Different.
180 degrees away, right?
Right. And that's funny that you mentioned that, because one time, this was years ago, I had a song. It was about BDSM. It's an older song. And, I wrote it specifically with, to me, it was just a story, right? Kind of I used to write differently, would have more story kind of songs where there was a main character and sort of a story. And this person I was talking to, she listened to the song and she said, "Oh, your song is about this." And I said, "Well, I like that interpretation, but really it's about this." And she said, "No, you're wrong." And I said, "Okay, it's art. It's subjective. You can get from it what you want." So it is interesting how you can present something, an idea, just like anything, you convey an idea and people totally come away with something else from it. And that's fine. If they listen to it, I appreciate it. If they're a fan, I appreciate it more.
Are you guys planning on taking this out on the road?
Well, I mean, the idea will be, to play out, right? And so for a couple of years, we didn't have a permanent bass player. Bass players are really hard. I have found it a challenge to find bass players over the years. We've had so many bass players. I don't know what it is. In my whole life, I've always been able to find a drummer. I've only
That's
worked with
usually the issue there.
right. Oh yeah, I know. That to me, I've had the opposite thing where I've always been able to find a drummer. I probably worked with 4 drummers in my entire life. And the drummer of Aittala now has been in the band like almost 13 years. But bass players have been the challenge. There's something mentally unstable about somebody who just plays bass. And I don't know what it is, but we finally, after a couple of years, we finally found a new bass player that he's worked in now. We're going to start playing shows next month and we're going to book as much as we can. But luckily, he doesn't have that mental deficiency of most bass players because he's also a guitar player and a singer. And he's in another band. He just plays bass with us. So I'm hoping our luck is turned around and we'll have our forever bass player in Dane Taylor.
Nice. All right, so I've got 2 more for you. If fans want to find you guys, how do they do so?
Well, I mean, we're on all the usual platforms, Instagram, newly on TikTok. I know I'm kind of late to the bandwagon on that. YouTube, Facebook, if people even use that anymore. We're aittalamusic.com, AITTALAMUSIC.com. I mean, that's our handle, right? On those platforms. If they just go to aittala.com, we still have a website. I try to keep it up to date. And all our links are on there as well. So
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I
filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
what do I do?
My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.